Hola mis amigos, welcome back to another movie review. Here today, we are reviewing Logan. For starters, we are all going to give our separate review, and then we're all just, going to give our honest opinion about what we think of the movie and how it went. Alright, so for my review, I think the movie was perfect. There are some things that are just me nitpicking, but other than that, I thought the movie was perfect. First off, the action. You know that this movie is going to be rated R right at the beginning with what Wolverine does, or what Logan does. He just freaking cuts through those guys right away just for messing with his car, which is really fucking awesome. Also, I just have to say that X-23, the little girl, is fucking amazing. Her acting and everything is just perfect. Even for a kid, it was amazing. Like, everything, I was like, I would be scared of her if I saw her in real life. And for the villain, I don't know. I feel like there wasn't really a villain there, to be honest. I mean, sure, she was followed. They were followed by the bad guys and stuff like that. But really, like the real villain of this movie was more like Wolverine and himself trying to live with the consequences of what had happened in previous lives and everything like that, and exactly with Charles Xavier, you know. But other than that, I still love the villains though. They weren't as big, and the main focus of the movie, which was pretty awesome. The main focus of this movie should have been Logan and X-23. Figuring out what they're gonna do and how they're gonna do it and how life is gonna work now with them two, coming together and trying to help each other out. Also, Charles Xavier is also not your friendly neighborhood psychic guy anymore. He actually cusses a lot at the beginning of the movie. After that, it just kind of simmers down. They're just movie directors are just trying to focus on that both Logan and Charles are withered down, and they're tired of what the hell is going on and everything like that. I also thought that the freaking plot twist that happened during one of the scenes, where Wolverine's clone, that X-23, but the evil clone, is like there standing over Charles Xavier, and I'm like, oh, this is probably a dream, he's just dreaming, relaxing and stuff, and all of a sudden he puts his hand to his chest, and I'm like, oh, he's feeling what he's feeling, the pain and everything, and then he just takes out his claws, and I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, oh, I'm pretty sure he's gonna wake up, and he never woke up, and then it just continues, and I'm like, no, he just died there, what the hell? I think that it was the best way that Charles Xavier could have gone. I really can't think of another way he could have gone, but it was pretty good. It was slow, and it showed that Wolverine still had demons following him that were still harming people that he loved and cared for still. Now, for the ending, I thought it was amazing and sad, and I will admit that I did cry. It was really heartwarming finally seeing Wolverine, understand. And after this, I've seen people commenting like, and then he's like, so this is what it feels like. And people are saying, oh, he's probably talking about death, But in my opinion, I think he's talking about love and family and friendship, Finally, at the end, X-23 is like, calls him daddy. And he's like, wow, this is what it feels like, I'm guessing, this is my opinion, is, him finally feeling love for someone and feeling proud or something along those lines. But I don't think it's death, because I'm pretty sure he's felt that many times, especially throughout his adventures. So I cried. I will admit that it was a really tear-jerking movie, and not all people might cry. It's just really up to how sensitive you are. And usually, to be honest, this is my fourth movie I've ever cried to, so that's something to say. But yeah, for this movie, I definitely give a 10 out of 10 and would recommend. Now, I pass on the review to Altered Gamer.
What's up, pups? It's the Altered Gamer here, and I'm going to give you my side of the review on Wolverine. So first of all, I happen to love the movie. I thought that it was going to be an instant classic, and I heard all of the hype up for it, and some of the people that saw it on like opening day and a couple days afterwards said that they cried, and it was just absolutely a fantastic movie. And overall, it was quality. It was one of the best X-Men related movies that I've seen in a while, and that's even including Deadpool, and I happen to love Deadpool. It was a great movie. But for the Wolverine aspect of everything, it was interesting because, one, you didn't really see too many of the other X-Men. I mean, you saw Charles Xavier, you saw they didn't really talk too much about like the people's names in it, other than like the other Wolverine, which was his daughter. I really enjoyed the way that the the daughter's character development actually came around, and it actually showed like how she became a mutant and what happened with her, and and how it actually just fit all together and actually gave her a full story and backstory, and showed everything up until the present day when Wolverine actually got to meet her, which was phenomenal. Character development, I give that I'm going to give it an 8.6 out of 10. It was a great character development portion, but I wish that it would have done a little more on some of the other people that you don't really know too much about. Like, they didn't really say their names or get too much of a story about them. Number 2, I'm going to talk about the action. If you wanted to watch a movie that was X-Men related, that was all action, like nonstop, like guns firing, mutant powers all over the place, just a full out brawl like X-Men Apocalypse, it's not the movie. It's not that type of movie. It's actually a little more of a it's more of a story based on trying to make sure that his daughter actually makes it to her destination properly and safely. But there is action spread out throughout it, and when there were fighting portions, they were absolutely amazing and nonstop, just anything you would expect for Wolverine to do. But again, it's a darker aspect of Wolverine, so that was pretty interesting to see that portion. So I'll give the action part, because anytime that you did see action, like I said, it was amazing action. It was I give the action portion a 10 out of 10. It was fantastic quality, and everything that was done for it was just mind-blowing. The plot of the story was fantastic, like for it being an older Wolverine and actually just like not giving two fucks about anything anymore. Like he's given up the whole like, let's go save people because we're mutants type of thing. He honed his inner fuck this shit. And you could honestly tell that he's kind of given up on that portion because he's gotten so old and he's watched so many of his friends die that he's had it. And he's just like, you know what, I'm done with the past, and I just want to keep moving forward, and I just want to die type of thing. And so it was interesting to see that. It was interesting to see Wolverine's mindset kind of in that way, but it was fantastic. The ending, spoiler alert though, the ending is it's heavy. The ending is really heavy. It actually makes you kind of cry a little bit because of the fact that there's some stuff that happens, and I'm not going to say anything else other than that, but I know that I definitely cried, and it was touching. But overall with the character development, the action scenes, the plot, and overall just characters themselves, and tying everything into the way the comic books did, it was fantastic. It was a quality movie. I recommend anybody who is a fan of superhero movies, and let alone Wolverine and the X-Men type of movies, go out and see it. But again, like I said, it's not for everybody. It's a little more grown up kind of style instead of the other ones, because there is partial nudity, so yeah. But I give the whole movie overall a 10 out of 10. I loved it. When it comes out on DVD, I'm copping it on release day. I don't give a fuck. But that's my opinion, and now I'm gonna pass the mic over to...
Hello everyone, this is the Dark Crazy, and this is my review of the movie Logan. So first, I'm gonna start off by saying that if you're worried about spoilers, I'm gonna try not to spoil anything. And if I do get into spoilers at all within the review before the end, I will say that I'm gonna talk about spoilers. So just be prepared to hit the mute button to wait like 5 or 10 seconds or so. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is the characters. So this is a Wolverine movie, obviously. So Hugh Jackman as Logan, we have Patrick Stewart come back as Charles Xavier, we have Daphne Keane, who is the little girl who, this isn't a spoiler at all, I guess it kind of is if you don't know comics, but it's not really the big spoiler. But Daphne Keene is is X-23. She's the little girl. And then we have Boyd Holbrook, I believe I said that right, as Pierce. There's another character that's it's more of a side character who's in there, but I'm not going to say who it is because they didn't really outright say or show him in the trailers, so I'm not going to say who it is. So the first thing I'm going to say about this movie is that it's rated R. Obviously, it says it's rated R, but it is very rated R. So definitely don't bring your kids to see this movie. It is not, even though it has a superhero in it, and I believe somebody else said this. I think Jeremy John said it. But there's a superhero in it, but it's not a superhero movie. It is not your usual superhero movie where there's explosions and high intensity, big scale battles and stuff. This is a drama. This is a movie with a superhero in it. This is a very grounded drama. It has a lot. It's very bitter. It has a lot of very deep and meaningful, deep meanings within the story itself. So be prepared for that. So the basic premise of this movie is that Logan is old as shit. I believe he's around 200 years old within the timeline. I might be wrong about that. I did watch a timeline video the other day, and I think he said he's about around 200 years old in the whole scheme of things. But point is, he's old as shit. His healing factor is definitely not what it used to be. You can see in the trailers that he's not healing properly. He has scars. He's bleeding way too much, and he's older now. He's aged, and with the healing factor, he didn't age before. That's why he's 200 years old. That's why in every other movie he basically looks the same. But with this, his healing factor is diminished. It pales in comparison to what it used to be. And he's taking care of Xavier, who has dementia and has some other brain diseases right now, and which is bad because he has basically the strongest, most powerful brain in the Marvel universe, basically. I don't know exactly the extent of his powers, but I know it's some type of telepathic attack that he puts on you that makes you just basically freeze in time, and I think he can make you do shit. I'm not 100% sure about that. The point is, he's strong, and he's struggling. He's old as shit also, and Logan is basically taking care of him. He's taking care of him. In this movie, Logan is kind of like a son figure to Charles. Charles is like a father figure to Logan. And when this girl comes along, X-23, shit just starts to happen. Bad stuff all around starts to happen. The enemy comes in, Pierce, who is, I don't know exactly, I don't think he has that many powers. He's not a mutant. He is with some gang of people called Intigen, I believe, and they're basically out to finish off the rest of the mutants. I forgot to say this, but the mutants are dead in here, and most of the mutants are dead, except for obviously Charles and Logan, and then a few here and there. So Pierce and his gang are out to kill the rest of the humans. Not humans, the mutants. Except they want X-23. They want the little girl because she escaped from this project where they were trying to make more mutants to militarize them. So basically, after X-23 basically falls into Logan's and Charles's hands, it's up to them to protect her, and there is a goal that they're trying to complete within this. They're protecting her. Logan doesn't really want to. He's kind of adamant against it. It's kind of like a Last of Us type story type of thing, because like with Ellie, Joel wasn't really cool with her. He wasn't up to the task of helping her get to this place, and then further along the bond grows. And this is kind of like the same type of deal in this movie. So as I said in the first part of this, it's very rated R. It's very gory. The fight scenes are incredible. Lots of punches with claws out to the face and head. There's a lot of dismemberment, like taking out legs and arms and stuff like that. I think there's a couple of heads rolling here and there. both from Logan and X-23, because she's a little badass. She was one of the best parts of this movie. She was absolutely fucking incredible in her fight scenes. The action, it was not consistent. And it's not a bad thing. It was kind of how it should be. There's action, and then there's calm. There's action, calm, and that's basically what it was. It starts out, the very first scene starts out with action. It starts out with Logan coming out of a bar. I think he's drunk. And in this, where he's at right now, he's basically a limo driver. He's getting money from driving limos, driving people around, driving bachelorettes, famous people, rich people, whatever, just to make ends meet, and to help Charles Xavier, because Charles needs medicine to keep him under control and to keep him from having these like seizures and stuff and destroying all this shit and hurting people, because Xavier doesn't want to do that, obviously. And along with the action and the blood and the gore and the fighting and the intensity, there are the softer, the more somber, meaningful spots in this movie where there's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of contemplation and stuff between the characters, and there's a lot of backs and forths, and it works really well because at the core of this movie, it's a drama. It's not an action movie. There's drama, and then there's some action here and there. And along with the action and somber, sad tones of the movie, there's also the humor. There's a lot of humor. There's a lot of back and forth between Logan and Xavier, because they've been together for this like whole time. There's mentions in the movie, harking back to the old movies. Xavier talks about how Logan was basically just a cage fighter trying to make ends meet, which was, I believe, the first movie he was introduced in. And there's also, he talks about the fight on the Statue of Liberty, which was in X2, I think. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't seen all the X-Men movies. So all in all those tones, all those different tones, the action, the somber and bitterness, and the funny within this movie, they work beautifully. They're timed incredibly well. After the action, there's some funny, and it brings you back. It's like a palate cleanser, and it brings you back into the moment and lifts your spirits up. And then before some action, there's some somberness, and it'll bring you down, and then the action will get your adrenaline going, and it messes with your emotions all the way through the movie. So my last thoughts. I was completely entertained throughout the whole movie. There was never any spots in the movie where I was bored or it dragged on at all. There was one part that kind of dragged on just a little bit, but it really wasn't that bad. It was very heartfelt, and it was bringing some humanity into Wolverine, who is a very inhuman person. He doesn't have a lot of humanity, honestly. So, my rating for this, originally I was gonna say that I was originally gonna say that I was gonna give it a 10 out of 10 or a 5 out of 5, I guess, because movies are rated on 5. But I think I'm gonna say it's a 4.5 out of 5. The only reason that it's 0.5 from a perfect is because the antagonist, Pierce, he wasn't really that completely threatening, honestly.
Well, that was cut short, but I hope you enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe while you're at it. It shows a lot of support. If you can follow us at 4 social medias: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Wolfwave, and Twitch at Wolfwave. But with that out of the way, I do hope you enjoyed, and I hope you catch us on a stream or a next upload. Hasta luego, mis amigos.